Alright guys, this video might be all over the place. It's taking place over the last, I think 3 or 4 days, just coming out, doing little bits at a time. So I didn't really have a set direction I was going with it, just trying to get it done. But I'll just be going over how I did the steering linkage and the steering shaft. So got all new. The center link, idler arm, tie rods, all that was a kit. And then picked up the power steering gearbox from a buddy off his parts car. Is a 442. And then picked up a Jeep steering shaft off of a 93 or 94 Jeep Cherokee. Not Grand Cherokee, just Cherokee. So I'll just be going over how I did it all and the problems I ran into. Alright, so I'm just going to be doing something fairly quick, hopefully. I think I've done one of them before, not the other, so hopefully it should go pretty easy. But pretty much, I'm going to start with getting the steering linkage all set up. So ordered this kit through Speedway, so pretty much everything you need. I'll probably take a picture of that and get all the part numbers, but it was all in the kit, so comes with everything: the drag bar, inner outer tie rods, the tie rod sleeve, idler arm. So get all this put together. And that's what pointed out why I kept the old steering linkage, even though it's pretty much, it's toast. Can't use it anymore. But the reason I kept it was for when I go and put the new one together, it'll help me get all the measurements. I'm not gonna say right, because I don't know how accurate or what type of condition the alignment was or the steering was when I first got the car. You see all this is just done for. So, but it's going to give me an estimate on what I need to start with to get the lengths correct for the tie rods. So I'm gonna open these up. So I just had the outer tie rods, inner tie rods, and then the tie rod sleeves. So I'll get it all that hooked up to the drag link and get all that buttoned up, get the idler arm put on, and then just get it all mounted up to the car. So I'll try to line everything up as close as I can so it's straight. Like I said, the gearbox, I'll probably be selling this one. Need to go pick up another one from a buddy. He has one on that the 442, pretty much the parts car. That's where I got the brake booster master cylinder from. Have to go back, get the power steering gearbox. But after the steering linkage, or maybe before, I'll just throw the master cylinder and brake booster up. So it's pretty simple. Just 4 bolts go through the firewall, and on the inside, the actual brake pedal get bolted to it. So that's how you do that. Pretty much just throw it through those 4 holes, line up the brake pedal on the other side, and then tighten down all the bolts. I'd still eventually need to get a cotter pin to go through there just to keep that in place. but I might throw this on now. I was debating if I wanted to. I might throw. See, it's not in bad condition, but it does have a few little surface rust spots. So I'll definitely clean this up, but I think I might hit it with a little quick coat of black spray paint, just clean it up a little bit. So might just go ahead. I'm gonna scuff this up, hit it with a quick coat or two of black spray paint, then I'll throw it on. And while that's drying, I'll go ahead and throw the steering linkage together and see how close I can get it. Get the steering linkage all put together, and I think I'm gonna hit it with a coat of black spray paint. I'll tape off all the threads and then all the rubber boots and everything. But for the most part, it's the same length as the old one I took off. It's right under 49 inches, I think like 48 and 7/8 or something like that, from end to end. So got those about the same. You do have to put these grease fittings on. I haven't greased them yet. Probably wait till I put them on there and then grease them. But I know these were reverse threads on the inner ones, and then the outer ones were regular. So just twisted all those down, got them to the same lengths as the old one. Next, like I said, I was going to just throw it on, but I think it might need a fresh coat of paint, so I'll throw fresh coat of paint on these. Probably just scuff them up a little bit, tape everything off, and then paint them. And then after that, once they dry and everything, I'll throw them on the car. Alright, so I just had a whole bunch of information that I messed up on my part. So I was trying to get the drag link or center link, whatever you want to call it. I was trying to get that in with the idler arm. I know I said it might be a little difference on the phone, not the camera. I said this notch was supposed to be reversed. I was trying to get the center link in, and I think it's backwards now, so I'm gonna have to flip that around. But I had to reverse the idler arm so that this notch was on the outside of or away from the frame and not going to it. It also gives me a little bit more clearance in between the sway bar and the idler arm. Then I took the tie rod links out, so I'm gonna flip this around because this is on backwards, but when the idler arm was on the other way, it would put it at a weird angle and it'd be impossible to get this center link on. So let me flip this around and then we'll see if that fixes the problem, and then try to get the tie rods back on. But I was trying to go what was on the Elco, and on the Elco the idler arm was flipped around, so that's what I thought it was supposed to be. But like I said, it is impossible to get the center link on. So let me take it back off, flip it around, because I think it's supposed to be, well, it's tough to tell, but these are supposed to be facing forward, not backwards. So flip these around and see if I could line up the tie rods. So put the camera down, I'll flip this around, then I'll catch you guys back on. Alright, so got this. I think I'm gonna have the center link flipped around, so I'll say that these two ends, they're angled towards the front of the car instead of towards the back of the car, if that makes any sense. So those are angled forward. I was able to connect it to the fitment arm and the idler arm. So that's after I flipped the idler arm around so that the notch was facing away from the frame. or towards the center of the car. And then the tie rods, like I said, I didn't even adjust those, so once everything was back on, they slipped on to both sides. So yeah, so they slipped on both sides. The wheels are, I guess, somewhat at the same angle. I think they're both turned towards the driver's side just slightly. So that was pretty close on it. Of course, won't be able to adjust anything until I actually get some weight in the car, but pause the camera and then flip it around, give you guys a view from the top. So that's what it's looking like. Well, I guess I was looking at it a little different, but I guess both the wheels are poked out slightly on both sides. So that's no biggie. Eventually I'll be able to adjust the tie rods and get it straight. So, but it's a little bit of a better view. You see the center link, how those are pointed, I guess, towards the front. And then the notch on the idler arm is pointed towards the center of the car versus, might be hard to see, but on the Elco it's pointed towards the frame. So that's the only difference, which this way was the only way it would go on and be able to, well, it's not even close to the sway bar anymore. So it's a lot more clearance there, and I was able to put everything on as it should be. And here just have a little plastic bag and stuff because there's still fluid inside the power steering. The power steering box, there's still the power steering fluid in there, so anytime you turn it, it's gonna leak out. So I have just a Ziploc bag and a few rags in there to try to soak up everything so it's not leaking all over the place. And kind of debating if I wanted to black that out or not, but I think it'll be all right. I'm gonna need some touch-up paint here, just because how it was sitting on the cardboard drying, it dried up on the cardboard. So yeah, that's it. Next will be, not gonna do it tonight, it's starting to get late. Just came out here trying to get this all buttoned up, but the steering shaft came out pretty nice. Just a few coats of primer, a few coats of paint, and it's the end result. But like I said, it'll slip on here fine, but I think up here you have to, grind it down just a little bit. Might as well do a bit of a test fit. All that stuff in the way, so it's gonna be a little harder. But it's not even compressed right now, so I'll mess with it in the morning. Just so I can set up the camera on the tripod, be hands-free, but I have to push it back down and compress a little bit for it to be able to slip onto here and try to slip onto here. So yeah, so pretty much everything had the concept of doing it all correctly, but the either arm was throwing me off, so I don't think I would have had to taken it all the way back apart. If I'd have just flipped that around, I could have left the tie rods and everything connected. But it's a learning process. I'm still learning on these things, so there you have it. I'll catch you back on in the morning when I throw the steering shaft on, and I really won't be able to test it. This is all, threads are all messed up, so I have to rethread it eventually. But that'll be a project for another day.